Alright guys, welcome back. I got a belt and I wanted to show you this thing, how it cranks up after just sitting overnight. I've been running it a little bit, cranking it up last few days, so shouldn't have any problems. Getting the door open might be a problem. Lock sticks. This thing, it usually, if it don't sit for a long time, it'll crank right up. So I'll do, give it one pat. It cranks up, idles good. No problem, it just sits. Gets the fuel evaporated out of the carburetor and it don't want to crank. So, alright guys, let's get down here and put this belt on. Alright guys, so this is what they're calling for. And this is what I went and picked up. This one's too short. This is a 55.5 inch belt. This is a 57 inch belt. This one's $9 and this one's $5. You tell me why 2.5 inches, or inch and a half rather. An inch and a half longer belt is $4 cheaper. Don't make no sense, but we're gonna try to get it on, see if it'll fit. Alright guys, well that was a success, but I've got no more adjustment. I'm all the way to the end to get this, and it's still a little bit loose. I'm hoping it'll work, but I'm thinking I'm gonna need a just a little bit shorter, maybe a 56.5 inch or even a 56 inch. Probably a 56.5 would be about what I need. So all the belts are back on, and alright, we're ready to go back out to the other shop, pull the vacuum on this thing. And I think I'm just going to load up all my Freon and take it with us. We'll go ahead and pull the vacuum for 30 minutes and charge her up. Alright guys, well, we're running into some problems. Come to find out, this cheap ass compressor here is locked up, and when I started charging her, well, when she started running, basically the belt was slipping on the compressor and the compressor wasn't moving. So anyway, I have bought a new compressor, brand new, not rebuilt, and we're going to change the compressor out. I'm going to replace this belt with one. I was going to try to find one a ½ inch smaller, be a 56.5. Unfortunately I couldn't. They didn't have one in stock, so I got a 56 inch belt, which is an inch smaller than this one. So I'll be putting it on. And I think what I'm probably going to have to do is take these hoses loose from the back of the compressor. I've drained the system. The new compressor comes with an 1.5 ounces of oil. And since I've used all my other ester oil up, I just bought these two little oil chargers. There's 1 ounce of oil in each with 1 ounce of Freon. So I've got 2 of them. We'll put them in to start with. About half, well, maybe a half a bottle of this left, and 2 of these I think will be plenty. Might not even need that much. I got an extra one here on a different setup. Feel like it's about full. And so I was at Advanced Auto Parts, picked up this belt, so 560/15, which is basically a 15/560. So it's a 56 inch belt. And I also picked up another one of these little babies here. I've got one on this can, but I can't take it off. I needed one to put on these cans, so I could put these in first. So first step is basically I'm gonna unhook the hoses from the back of the compressor. I'm going to drop the compressor down. I'm going to take the belts off, unbolt the compressor, swap brackets, put the brackets on the new compressor, mount the new compressor, put the belts back on it, and then hook the hose back up. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. Alright guys, I got my compressor mounted, my new belt on. Now I've got some, I don't know how you can't see. Now I've got a little bit of room to adjust that belt. It was a tight fit. I had to get it down as far as I could go to get it on. I don't believe I'd ever got the what they called for on there. Alright, so got it good and tight. Got basically about 20 minus 25, and maybe minus 20. I had it down to minus 30 with that other compressor, so I'm kind of wondering if this compressor is a little bit different. It had the indentions like the original, and I'm wondering if I got this thing set up right. There was three. It came with three different washer O-rings, and they were, two of them was just like the original. There's a big thick green one, this red one, and then a thinner one. I got oil all over me from this other one. And I'm wondering now, because I couldn't move this by hand, and I couldn't move that one by hand, if my belt was just not tight enough to turn it, and the thing might be still good. I don't know. But the old one I could turn easily by hand. I just wondered if it might have been wore out or something. But anyway, got everything hooked up. We're not going to be using the high side, but I pulled vacuum from it. They say you don't have to. It just seems to work better for me to use it. So in other words, this will stay closed. We can still read the gauge on it when it's pumping. This one's closed now. You can see, maybe. I got about 27 inches of vacuum. They say the compressor manufacturer says pull it for 45 minutes. If I had a little electric vacuum pump, I wouldn't mind doing that, but it would burn these air compressors up. My big air compressor got hot as fire, and the reason I'm doing it down here now, because I don't want to burn it up, and I don't care about this one so much. But it will just constantly run, you know, it never shut off, which is a bad thing. It's a good thing in one way, because this little air pump probably wouldn't $15, $20 versus over $100 for an electric pump. But you know, if I had the money, I'd go buy an electric pump. I'd pull it for 45 minutes. I'd wait 10 minutes, make sure it wouldn't losing vacuum. I don't hear anything, and it don't seem to be losing vacuum, so we're about to get started. And so the first thing I want to do is go ahead and get me one of these. I did put a little bit of PAG oil in there. That's all I had. Really didn't want to put this 150 in there, but 100 wouldn't have been alright. But I've been using this ester. I'm hoping it's compatible. If not, I guess I'll be doing all this over again. But I've got two of these little oil charges I'm going to put in there first. And so I'm going to get my little hickey, my new little hickey. And I'll show you in the other video I took how this connects. Get this little adapter right here. It screws on your can. This right here is a needle. You can see that little needle in there. You want this screwed all the way out, like that. Now it's all the way out. Screw this on your can. Hook this to your yellow line, and then when you get it hooked up, press this down, it punctures the can. And I think if you keep going down, it'll seat it off. So I think you have to puncture it and then pull it back out to get it to flow. Alright, now on the gauges, you won't have any flow until you open this valve. This gauge will read whatever's on this line, but this valve will open up from the yellow line to the blue line, or from the yellow line to the red line with this valve. So the gauges are reading whatever's on your lines with these valves closed. Before we open this blue valve, we get the line charged up, we want to vent through that little Schrader valve there. We want to vent off any air that's in this line, and we should just get, when we start hearing you got all your air out. That way you're not sucking air back into your system. And we'll crank her up, put the air on high, and we'll start charging. I connect this can. Basically, you unscrew this all the way up, screw it on the can, make sure you hooked up, screw it down till it punctures it, then screw it back out. You got flow. If you screw it all the way down, you shut the flow off so you can save it. Basically, that's how that works. So I'm going to crank her up, turn the air on, and then start filling this oil charge. Then we'll go and start filling Freon. Oh, you also want to make sure you bleed this out a little bit. Once you get flow on there. Get all the air out of there. Even better side. Right now it's losing suction, kicking it off, low suction pressure. Well, we'll keep doing it. Get her cold, I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, I pretty much used both of these cans, and alright, I started with that little piece of can, that big one. When I got it in and got this one in, I started on this last can. Compressor started running all the time. It was getting down about 35 pound suction pressure. When I got this one empty, I hooked this up, and I had at about 85 degrees, I had about 50 pounds pressure on there, so it was in the green. So I think we're good, or as good as it's gonna get. It's cooling good. It feels real good in here. It's almost in the green. It is good in here. Real good. I would call that a success, guys. And you can see it wasn't real hard. You just need, you really don't even need those hoses except to pull a vacuum. But you can buy a single line to go to your low side, and you know, of course those hoses, they ain't that expensive. I think 50, 60 bucks for a set of hoses, and I've used them twice. I've saved at least that much in garage fees. Now we'll say it ain't quite as cold as that 93. That 93 will get down all the way down to 40, way down in the green on max. But it is a damn sight better than it was. When we started, it was about 80 degrees. I want to get air on this damn other truck too. So we're about 48 degrees. We're not quite all the way in the green, but it may be as good as it gets with that switch. I couldn't find a retrofit switch, but I'm gonna tell you what. Actually, I guess we're 55, but that's a 60. But anyway, it might get on down the green going down the road, get some cooling going on, I don't know. I can always add a little more Freon if it needs it. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope this helps. Stay tuned for more.